everyone and welcome to my new video. This is Wave Race 64 on the Nintendo 64, and this was one of the games that when I briefly had the N64 I totally passed it by completely. I didn't really have much of an interest in it at all. I wasn't really into sort of these alternative sport type games. I like the Tony Hawk's games, but that was about it really. I didn't really get into these. Didn't really get into the snowboarding ones either. I played Cool Borders on the PlayStation. It was pretty good, but most of the time I didn't have a sodding clue what I was doing. But I actually got this when I bought the N64 about a month ago. This was one of the games that come with it, and I remember at the time it having quite a good fan base and seemingly being very, very popular. So I thought I'd check it out, and I was pleasantly surprised. It is actually an awesome little game. The first thing I noticed was just how fantastic the water effects were. The water effects in the video that you've seen really aren't done any justice at all. You have to really see the game running in person to appreciate just how good they are. And the idea behind it as well is it's just a very, very simple concept. It's just racing but with jet skis, and sort of true to the form of these games. There's a lot of variety in the environments. There's shortcuts you can take, you know, these bits you can jump over, there's sorts of different settings. I mean, you wouldn't think that there could be a great deal of variety in a game that's centered around jet skis going on water, but there's plenty of different environments, and the graphics are absolutely fantastic. They move nice and smoothly, they're very colourful. You know, there's lots of interesting things, like you get sort of here where you get like that's not a fault with the thing, that's just with the recording, that's just sort of like some mist that's on the water, and as you can see there's a pretty good example of just how good the water effects are. You know, you probably have to go right the way up to modern day games consoles to find water effects that are better than this, and I think the fact that it was on a Super Nintendo many years ago just shows what a technical achievement that it was. One of the things you've got to sort of consider when you're playing it is that you've got to kind of slalom your way past these indicators. They sort of tell you which side that you've got to go on. And doing it right gives you a speed boost or a power boost. As you can see there, a little power up thing, and if you miss it like that, you power down. So you know, in order to sort of win the race, you need to keep going through them correctly so you can stay competitive with the other racers out there. There's, you know, usual sort of tournament championship type events to play through, standalone races and so on and so forth. It is just an awesome game, and I sort of appreciate now why it was so widely well received when it come out. You know, again, it's one of those games that sort of showcase what the N64 was capable of doing, and is a very, very pretty game to look at, but it's exceptionally playable too. The sort of thing that I was concerned about was when you go to play some of these type of games is they can often be quite unplayable or difficult to control because of the fact that you're dealing with sorts of physics being in the water as opposed to on land. But it works really well. You have to get used to it a little bit because you do have that kind of inertia which you don't get in sort of land-based racing games. But once you sort of get to grips with that, you'll be flying along in no time, and it is very rewarding. The AI of the competitors is also really good as well. You know, then they don't just plow around stupidly. They follow different courses. They'll try and outfox you with shortcuts, and they always keep you on your toes. So yeah, it is well worth checking out. It is well worth checking out, and you can probably pick it up relatively cheap now. As I say, I don't know how much it would be going for, because I got mine as part of the N64 pack that I bought, but I can't imagine it being too expensive. But yeah, it is well worth checking out. As I say, I've just gone through a few courses on this video to try to give you an idea of the variety. This is one of those instances where, you know, it's just a simple thing, but, you know, like taking a shortcut across that boat. But the levels are littered with it, and as you get further into it and the competitors become more difficult to beat, you're going to need to try and take advantage of these shortcuts, and preferably not crash into solid objects like I did there. So that's pretty much it. That's Wave Race 64 on the Nintendo 64. Thank you for watching.